Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we are going to be recreating a historic landmark in my area. It's called the Cuttaloosa Mill House, and it is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania in Solebury. It's either Solebury or New Hope. I did not put any pictures up here because they were copyrighted by the artist and I didn't want to infringe since I didn't ask him permission to use them in this video, but you can always Google it and look it up. I'll include the links down below in the description box if you want to take a look, but I did my best, and luckily with cottage living and horse ranch, made it very easy with those items to recreate this. I think it looks really, really cute. So I guess historically it was an actual mill on this farm, but for this case I wanted to make it a residential lot, and it is in Henford on Bagley. It is on, I think it's normally a rental lot, but it is on the 13 Nettle Lane lot. It's a 30 by 20, and this home comes out pretty cheap. It's a little bit more than a starter home. It's 21,668 simoleons. It is 1 bed and 1 bath, and underneath we will have a nice little indoor horse barn in that little building right there you see off to the right. Right next to the water, and there's also that lovely water wheel which does move when you're in live mode. It's very pretty. Stick around till the end or just skip forward if you want, and you can check out the live mode preview that I put in there. It's really, really cute. I enjoy it very much. There's also a little nectar shack or shed up here. That tiny little building will be the nectar shed, and then in the horse barn there's the little nectar racks. I don't know why, I just decided to put them down there because I thought it would be funny to store your nectar where your horse does all of their living. They're sleeping and pooing and all that fun stuff. I just thought it was funny. But this one gave me a little bit of trouble with the landscaping because I'm not super great at the terrain manipulation. I tried my best, but it took me a while, so I did cut out almost all of that footage except for that tiny bit you saw in the beginning, but you get the idea. I didn't want to bore you with the details. And then those big rock ledges I just got from the debug menu. I think they're from Cottage Living Debug, as is that water wheel. Actually, I think that one is in live edit because it does move. And then this lovely little pond. So it kind of reminds me of, there's water nearby on this lot in Henford on Bagley, and I'm thinking that the watershed goes like underneath the ground, and right here it just pops out as a little stream that leads into a pond, and then it flows back underground and it pops out at the very large body of water. I guess if you're facing the way I'm facing now, like right behind us. So it's pretty cool. I think it works really well. It looks like it matches up with the rest of the world. And here I am popping on down. The first little area that I work on is the horse ranch, or the horse stable, should I say. Down here I use these doors from the horse ranch pack, and then I just kind of build out like a little fenced in area. It does change a little bit over time because I wanted there to be room for a horse to actually move around. And then here we just jump into the front, and I'm starting the landscaping. I also threw some debug plants back here. That's probably why the lot is so cheap, is because I use all debug landscaping. I hate using like the build mode plants that actually cost money, because to me it's like, well, if you're buying the lot, you shouldn't have to pay for the plants that are already there. They're just plants. So I don't like to use those if I don't have to, unless sometimes I do enjoy certain items that are only available in the build by catalog, but mostly I just use the debug and live edit plants. And I thought that this little area over here that's really overgrown in the front, I was trying to make it look like, they wanted to keep it overgrown a little bit, but just kind of tidy it up a smidge. So these really big overgrown bushes, I think they're from horse ranch, but don't quote me on that. They're either from horse ranch or cottage living or growing together. I think all of them kind of came with a similar bush, like in a slightly different tone. So I wanted to use lots of those because they fit in really nice with the world. And then almost all the other plants were from the Cottage Living Debug so that they would fit. I didn't want them to look out of place. And that's pretty much it. I just kind of throw in a whole bunch of stuff over here, and then you'll see me switch over to the other side of that rock wall and also the back. I go back and forth doing a whole bunch of landscaping. So while you're watching me do this boring stuff, let me know in the comments or, wherever you want, whether it be Instagram or what have you, if there's anything you would like to see that directly attributes to the Horse Ranch pack, or even any other pack that you want me to dive deeper into in another video, because I was thinking I really do enjoy making those, and I just don't want to be too repetitive. If you've already seen how to do certain things, I don't want to, I don't want to bore you. I don't want to waste anyone's time, including my own, because I don't have a lot of it. So you just let me know if there's anything you want to see, any kind of build, any kind of deep dive into certain features that a certain pack has that I might be able to demonstrate, because I'm pretty familiar. Back in the day before I had children, I would play this all the time on my days off, and I just go to town. So I've had a little bit of time to experience almost all the packs in great detail, because I am thorough with my research and I enjoy Sims. But let me know, because I'm looking for other ideas. Always ready for new build ideas or even just new video ideas. Here I am throwing in a couple more plants. That's my favorite little tree/bush thing. I use that in all of my builds. And then these lovely debug lavender plants and all the different swatches, I throw them in here too. First I wanted to place that fern though, so I do move those. I throw the lavenders back in there. And then these little patches of grass I throw in just up top, and I do eventually put some down the bottom of this hill. Here I'm working on just smoothing the terrain ever so slightly next to the steps so that I can throw in some more plants. And I do eventually get rid of that concrete walkway going down the side, and I replace it with some like gravel terrain paint, which you will see in a little bit. And I also put some stepstones near the front door. But here's some lovely wildflowers. I threw in some hollyhocks right there, those pink tall flowers right there. I thought they looked really pretty. Here's the rest of the landscaping pretty much for the front. Just about done. I throw in a few more little flowering plants. I kind of stack them, and I use the tool mod to move them down certain heights, so it kind of looks like it's one continuous plant just climbing up this hill. I thought that looked really nice. I had no real reference images for what the front of the mill house looked like, because I'm pretty sure it's like connected to the rest of the farm. So I had to just use my imagination and make it fit in with this world. I just make that plant just a teeny bit bigger, also with tool mod, because I wanted it to stand out just a little bit more. So here's more of those patchy plants, and also some little dirt piles I thought would look nice underneath the bushes and stuff, so that it wasn't just grass. I mean, I do throw in terrain paint later on, but it's kind of hard to see. So I wanted to throw in some little like dirt mounds to make it look more natural. And up here I'm placing these stepping stones, and then you'll see me kind of fade in to where I'm doing the gravel. I also place some like tiny loose rocks up there, you'll see alongside the stepping stones, because I thought it made like a nice little transition from the stepping stones to those those stone wall pieces. And here I am throwing in some cottage living fencing, just slightly. Like, I don't close in the whole lot, I just kind of put it in bits and pieces, like they're trying to cordon off some of their plants and mark the lot so that everybody knows it is a residential lot now. It's no longer just an old abandoned farm mill house. But I love those cottage living grass pieces, like the long thin pieces. And then I think I also used some of the Horse Ranch large patches of tall grass. They're so pretty and they work really well. Also those large lavender bushes, I think I used them about 3 or 4 times on this lot alone. And then we move up here to this itty bitty ledge right behind where the Nectar Shed is. And I think first I throw in my favorite little bush tree things here just to fill up that little bit of space. I was thinking about putting steps down that way, but I couldn't figure out a way to make them fit without moving both houses, further apart. And it just didn't look right. So I decided to keep that natural and just throw some plants in there. Here's some big grass pieces on this ledge. And I think I just throw some wildflowers in there too. And then on the other side, I do more grass and like an itty bitty mushroom plant, because I thought that made a little bit more sense. Like that's a shady area, so it would grow some mushrooms. And then down here, adding more of those big plots of dirt. And then up here, I'm finally doing the front porch area. There's a trash can. Eventually there ends up being like a little decorative flower arrangement up on the front deck, and then changing the steps to the horse ranch kind of weathered looking wooden steps. And here we are, almost fully landscaped little horse area in the back. A lot of these items are also debug, like this little well / bucket filling station right there, and all those flowers. Those little flowers, like the patches of yellow and white flowers, actually come in like 3 varieties. One's like a corner piece, one's a long skinny piece, and one's kind of rounded. And I thought that was so cool, so I had to work them in there somewhere. There's also a little like a horse blanket and saddle rack that you can put outside, which is debug, and I thought it was so pretty, so I had to add that in here. And then I wanted to add as many windows as I possibly could to this area down here, which was not an easy task because I mean all of it looks out to dirt or like trees and rocks. So I just put that little open window from, I think that's from Jungle Adventure, and then the other windows in the front are all like stable windows or whatever from the Horse Ranch pack. And then I use a bunch of those hay rug decor pieces on the ground around the horse bed, and it looks really nice. And my sheep and my goat for my playtester sim were able to sleep in here just fine, walk in and out, no problem. So I'm hoping that means your horse will be able to as well. I did not playtest this with a horse, but because I've been playing with horses so much, I kind of have an idea of where they can get to. Also, there is prairie grass here, so do not worry. You will be able to harvest prairie grass and fill the horse feeder. No worries there. Here is our little nectar shack. I tried to make it a little different than my last one, because for some reason I'm obsessed with making little tiny shacks and sheds for nectar versus a basement. I could have made a basement on this lot, but I just thought it didn't make sense if there was a creek and a pond that there would be basement, because that just probably wouldn't exist. It would probably be flooded. It would be more like a pool. But adding those windows, and I do add those same windows there on the house in a little bit. This big open window here I thought would be nice to get some fresh air while you're working this machine and stomping away at your fruit and prairie grass and whatever else. So here we are doing the floor plan. My mouth not communicating with my brain today. This is the floor plan for our actual living quarters for our sim. So this little area here in the front is the bathroom. It is very big for this space, but I wanted there to be, a toilet and a shower tub combo and a sink and enough wall space for decorations like, towels and a mirror, etc. So I made that pretty big, and I also assumed that this is just for a single sim and her or his hooved friends. So that was what I went with. I did a single bed. I think I used the one from Horse Ranch, the new one here, yes. And I just kind of went through the swatches till I found one I liked. I picked this green and white plaid pattern and the chocolatey brown frame, I guess, and same end table. And then I threw in just a little lantern on the wall. Now you could probably get away with using this as an off-the-grid lot, but you'd probably have to replace the lights, because unfortunately I don't think that lantern counts as being off the grid, or maybe it's the wall lantern, but for some reason it doesn't count for off the grid. I guess it's a fake wall lantern. It's actually electric. It's not really fire. But here's that curtain that I keep having a hard time using, but it worked perfectly in this space. And then over here we will have a tiny living area, and there is a TV, because that is a nice, easy way for your sim to get their fun up. I tried to use this console table for the TV, but it just didn't want to go on there, and I didn't feel like fiddling with it because I was running out of time for the day during this segment of building. So I went with the Horse Ranch actual TV console table that came in the electronics category. And then the kitchen over here is small, but very functional. It has the cottage living fridge and stove, and then the countertops are from Horse Ranch. So I think it looks really cute. Now in this corner here where I put that little end piece, I do end up making that eventually into like an island corner area, because I wanted your sim to have a place to eat that was, a designated like a table. But I didn't feel like including a table because there's just not enough room in here for everything. And then I was working on the upper cabinets, and I didn't like where the windows were because it bothers me when the cabinets intersect with the windows. So I got rid of that big window and just put 2 more of those little windows under there, and it worked really nice. Using the Horse Ranch siding also in the main living area, and also the floorboards, continuing them here, and then just the base game flagstone flooring in the kitchen, and I also use it in the bathroom. And then I start decorating the console table over here. Just put a little lamp, and then this bowl of jumping ahead, this bowl of like herbs and sage and such. I really like it. And then over there on the counter, there's just some kitchen utensils, all from Horse Ranch pack. Here's where I'm deciding that I want to do the island corner countertops, and I think they look really, really pretty. I do end up grabbing a tall bar stool, also from that pack, and then just decorating a smidge. I put this cute like milk jug pitcher thing over here, and then eventually I add plates. I think like a little stack of plates. And that pot from Cottage Living also goes in the corner, as this pitcher goes next to the vase, if you will. Then adding some wall decorations. I knew I wanted to use this pot rack from Horse Ranch, and that little tiny painting is from Cottage Living. I really like that one too. I use that one quite a bit. It's pretty cheap and it's nice looking. So there's that. And also from Cottage Living, I use this little basket of blankets and pillows because I thought that fit in pretty well. And there I just added like a little threshold in between the wood floors and the stone kitchen floor, because that just seems realistic to me. Then moving into the bathroom, I added the wall mirror and a little bathroom rug. I was thinking about sizing down this woven one, but I just didn't like the colors it came with. They were just a little too bright. I really did like this one though, because they look like feathers almost. I thought that really dug into the whole theme of the build. And then just adding soap and toothbrushes and toothpaste, and then I think moving over and just adding some toilet paper and a towel. Now at first I think I add the base game towel, and then I do go back. So here's that base game towel, and then I found this little hand towel to put next to the sink. That's when I realized almost all the fixtures in here have that like brassy gold tone on the hardware, so I wanted to pick a towel that had the same hardware so that everything matched, because it just, I don't know, it bothers me. Silly little things like that bother me with my builds. And then here I was changing the front steps and front porch area because I just thought that the wood maybe needed to be a smidge darker. And moving this trash can because I realized it was up a little higher. It was up a little higher because I was on a different level. So the levels are very strange here. In order to access the Nectar shack, you need to go down a level, and that opens up the horse barn, basement, and the Nectar shack. It's very strange. I don't know why that is. It must have just been the way I built it. It's probably my fault. But anyway, moving on. Now we are working on the little pond area. So I threw in some more bushes, tried to keep the landscaping pretty much the same as the front and the side. I didn't want it to vary too much. I wanted it all to blend in really nicely. And I used a lot of tool mod to move things down into the dirt because it wanted to float. It did not want to snap to the angled terrain, which you'd think by now they would have done something about, instead of having all the terrain float when you do any kind of manipulation. Like, why even have that as an option? Why even have terrain manipulation as an option if the plants aren't gonna stick to where you want them to be? Anywho, sorry, that's just my gripe for the day, because I was getting real annoyed at all of my plants just jumping around. I don't like it. But here we are, filling that little space in after my complaining is over. And then I was adding some rocks into the pond and just lowering them down a little bit with tool mod. And I think off camera, yeah, it's off camera, I added some little like fish and tadpoles and dragonflies and fireflies to the pond and also the rest of the build, because I noticed that I hadn't done that. And when I was going into live mode and it became nighttime, I was like, oh wait, there's no bugs, like there's nothing going on. That's not right. In this area, that's not right. We got to do something about that. So I do add a bunch of different effects so that at nighttime it actually feels very, cottagey. I don't know what you want to call it. Here's more rocks I'm putting down, and also those reeds. I think those tall brown reeds are from Cats and Dogs, and the only reason they're brown is because technically it is fall when I'm building here, and those reeds just completely turn brown in the fall. Some of the plants I was pulling out, I said, why are these black? Oh, right, it's fall. There's that tall grass right there by the rocks. That's from Horse Ranch that I talked about earlier. And now heading inside, we have just a little bit more decorating to do. I put another flower arrangement here on the end table, and then I think I add the little like decorative trinket box from Cottage Living, or no, it was from the Everyday Clutter Kit. I put that on the end table as well because I just thought it looked really pretty and kind of matched the aesthetic of the rest of the home. And then I was going to try to add something on the underside of this table, and then I found that little itty bitty barrel, and it just happened to slot on that island corner piece, and I thought, okay, well, there we go. That's where that goes now, I guess. So I thought that was really pretty. And then I think I was just taking a quick look around to make sure I didn't want to add anything else, and here is where I found those books. Those are from Cottage Living, and I needed those because your Sims got to read at some point, right? It's good to have. And that is pretty much it for this build. Here is a lovely little scene in the back where my Sim is reading a book, sitting on the stool. There's a bunny. Eventually, you will see the goat and the sheep pop out. I think they are currently both in the barn. But yeah, as you can see, the water wheel moves, and there's dragonflies fluttering about, and I know you can't see it, but there are in fact fish and tadpoles swimming in the pond, and it just looks really cute, and I love it. I'm very, very proud of this one, and it'll quickly cut to the front where my Sim will be cloud gazing, and you get to see that section. So if you enjoyed this, I hope that you will stick around for the screenshots and the rest of the music, and also if you want to see anything else, anything particular as far as a build or just a deep dive into certain features of certain packs, let me know. As always, thank you so much for joining me here today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you would like to suggest anything, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.